Cool.
Go ahead, Julie.
Um, cool. So today I'm going to be walking through a piece of work that I've got in review at the moment. Um, so what I've been doing is converting the current custom models Haml front-end code into using Vue.js, and just sort of iteratively completing that process. And this MR here is converting the models view page into Vue. Um, so the work is also behind a feature flag called Custom Models View App. So if you want to play around with it after this call, then yeah, that's the feature flag to use. I think, yeah, I think everyone is probably familiar with the state of the UI at the moment, but since we're recording, I've got the screenshot here. This is what it currently looks like in Haml. And I just set up GDK to make sure it's actually running properly for this demo. But this is what I've currently got on that branch. So I'm not a designer. If anyone sees any improvements, let me know. But I've opted to use the GL table light. I think that's the name of, or GL light table. I don't know. Uh, that component from the component library to structure this. Like I noticed in its current form, we don't have a header, so it's not super clear, like perhaps what is the deployment name, what is the model name, and I guess, yeah, I just thought maybe for more explicitness, I'd add a header for each column as well. I've also added with the API key, I really liked the icons we had here, the little key icons, but just for greater clarity as well, I've sort of like if a model doesn't require an API key, it's got a little cross and then a tick when it's got one. Um, yeah, when I first did this, I had the crosses in red and then the check marks in green, but then it sort of looked like there was something wrong with the model that had a little cross next to it. So I got rid of the colors. I've kept the three dot like menu drop down here as well. Um, and so that all works. It just routes to the current Rails Haml view for editing the model. Um, and can't delete a model yet. I've added the button, but I haven't hooked up the functionality. Um, I also added a tiny bit of responsiveness, although actually I was thinking about this before. Do we, because this is self-hosted, is that menu likely to appear on a mobile? Like, will anyone use it in that way?
But it's admin, especially since it's admin. I wouldn't guess people are admining their instance on a mobile phone.
Yeah. Okay. That's good to know because I sort of added a little bit of responsiveness and then thought about it and was like, maybe it's not even used very often here. But anyway, I've added a little bit of like truncation, like the ellipsis when things are truncated. And I think actually in the there is a little bit of responsiveness in the current Haml as well, where it's all stacked like that. So yeah, that was one improvement that could be made. I think there is an option to stack the table, but I haven't implemented it here. But anyway, given that mobile is not very traffic for this place, yeah, I think this is probably fine.
And also it might still get redesigned.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, in the background, there's some work happening from UX and design where they're going to be redesigning this whole like AI section. So like basically all this work that I'm doing in Vue might get redesigned anyway. FYI. So yeah, that's the UI. I'll probably leave it a bit shorter for the actual like code walkthrough because I think the interesting part is probably just the UI UX sort of changes. And again, yeah, like if anyone can see any like improvements or like or anything like that, just yeah, let me know. I can set up an issue to sort of add it another time or something like that. But yeah, code wise, I'm basically extending a like the app component, like the entry point component that Dennis and I added a couple of weeks ago to sort of incorporate this self-hosted models table component where I'm pulling in other components from the component library. And then also this, I think it's in this one. No, it's in this component here. Patrick added a GraphQL query for fetching that data a couple of weeks ago as well. So we're also utilizing that. But yeah, component. This is the entry point here, the index.js, where we're finding the JS self-hosted models node that we inject from the HAML. This is the original HAML file where we just check if the feature is enabled. And if it is, that node gets injected. I don't know if that's the proper terminology for that, but that's how I understand it as working. And then, yeah, just a bunch of tests here, which was actually, this was a very good MR for me to sort of discover like the testing style we have here at GitLab. So yeah, very happy about that. And some localization as well. Yeah, that's the walkthrough. Any questions on anything?
Pretty cool, Julie. I have a question on the component itself, the table, that we're moving from HAML to view, right? Is the responsiveness lacking in this view component? And if so, is there any other feature that you missed from this part that it was available in the HAML component but not available in the view component?
Good question. So this was like the responsiveness I think was a little bit better in the HAML because of this like scroll approach. But yes, I don't think so from the web view. Let's have a look. I guess we don't have this like tally here of the total models, but otherwise I don't think there was anything else unless I missed it.
That is the card. That is the card view component, but that is not the preferred UX style, like for this page. So the other one is actually the more common one that you added, like with the head, with the title and everything. That is
Okay.
yeah. So this one is already more common.
Okay, cool. That's good to know. Yeah, I wasn't really sure how this like, whether this is a style like adding the crosses and the ticks, for example, or like even having like the 3-dot menu within a table row. I hadn't seen that at GitLab, but we didn't have a designer at the time and I wasn't sure. But I think once Tim sort of settles in the team, I'll run things through him as well and see what he thinks and incorporate any sort of feedback he might have as well.
Yeah, I had a question regarding pagination because pagination is not even in the backend yet. But do you think it's gonna be needed, and how you think it's gonna be integrated in a way? But yeah, that's a UX UI
But
type of question.
pagination comes for free with GraphQL. There's nothing that needs to be done as long as you pull a list on GraphQL.
Oh yeah,
pagination.
that's true with the type. Yeah.
And the table light
Yeah.
component also has pagination by default.
Okay,
So
okay,
there
yeah,
isn't
true.
much work to add.
Mm.
If we
Okay,
were
nice.
using REST, yes, that would be a little bit more work, but with GraphQL, that's pretty straightforward.
Nice.
That's really good to know. I didn't know the table light had pagination. I knew the like GL table did. Well, that's what I read in the docs, but yeah, I didn't focus on pagination just because yeah, things might get redesigned, and I figure it might be just better to move on with the rest of the functionality and sort of get it completed and then iterate on things later if needed.
I think thanks Jolly for all of this work. It's really great actually to see some clean front end for our MVP. And yeah, it's really good. So I think we just question, maybe John, you know it. I saw one issue about us trying to provide more models for the same feature. Like same feature might be using multiple models for example, for our customers case, like for the customer case that we had, any like user base and membership can use different models, right? So does it mean that we may end up having the number of models equal to the number of membership that we have at GitLab at this point? We easier introduce pagination now. So yeah, that's just
Yeah.
quick.
I can answer that. So that's a request that was made by a customer. We're not sure there's an issue open for it, but we're not necessarily sure if we're going to do it or not. But what the customer has asked for is for the same feature, self-managed customer, for example, code generation, they have more than one model available. And then there are rules set up that choose which model is used. And so the rules are probably going to be around document privacy. So there's a lot to think about with that. It will definitely require changing the UI here, but there's a lot of other things to think about as well. So it's still kind of in problem validation, that one. But yeah, I think the long term will be change this, but we're not ready to jump into it just yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so then all good.
Great. Well, Julie, thank you so much. Really great effort. And I love the design as well. It looks great. Yeah, we'll stop the video now and we'll move on to the next part of the meeting. So thanks so much.
Oh, thank you.